11 weeks of the NFL season has come and gone already, but it is Wednesday or after Wednesday, and you already know what that means on the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. It is that time of the week for my updated 2023 NFL mock draft. And before I say anything else, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone that celebrates, to you and your family. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season. This next month is my favorite time of the year, not only in the NFL, but during the regular year as well. Doesn't have to be the NFL. But let's get down to business. I'll just preface this by saying that I don't really see too many changes from last week's to this week's. I wasn't even actually going to do one because of the holidays, but I figured I might as well do one anyway. There are a couple new faces to my first round, so I figured I might as well give you a video. I was going to make a quick post on the community tab, but I figured the video is just so much better than using the community tab. So without further ado, I think we should just get right into it. First overall pick, Houston Texans yet again, coming off of another loss. Gonna have to go with Bryce Young. These first two picks aren't really going to change unless the draft order changes, honestly. And even then, I still don't think it would really change. So the consolation prize to the Houston Texans getting Bryce Young is the Carolina Panthers getting C.J. Stroud. Now, Carolina Panthers fans, don't you worry. Your Lord and Savior, Sam Darnold, is listed as the starter for this upcoming week. So you guys might find yourself outside of this top three very soon, or in Super Bowl territory, honestly. So the first two picks there, this is where the draft, I feel, well, really after the first four picks, I feel like is where the draft really starts, especially if this is the first four teams that are picking. It doesn't really matter the order for me. If these are the first four teams picking, it's going to be the four prospects that are going to be taken off the board. But here, I mean, the Chicago Bears really have the pick of probably the two best players in the entire draft between Jalen Carter and Will Anderson Jr. But Jalen Carter is my top player on the entire board. He's one of my favorite prospects I've ever had the pleasure to watch. You guys really love that 2023 NFL draft player profile I did on him. Can't thank you guys enough for that support as well. And if you haven't checked it out, please check it out now. But I'm going to go with Jalen Carter here. The guy is just a game wrecker from the inside. Really, you can't go wrong either way, but it's a personal preference for me here, and I think Jalen Carter is the D-tackle, 3-tech especially, is a much bigger need for the Chicago Bears than an edge rusher. I'm going to go Jalen Carter there, and then, of course, you have to take the best player in the draft. If you're picking at number 4 here, best player available is Will Anderson Jr. Fills a long-term need as well, as Chandler Jones hasn't really worked out, and you still have one of the game's best edge rushers on the other side, Max Crosby. So I love pairing young edge rushers together. So I'm going to go Will Anderson Jr. here. Then at number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. They have their pick of the litter as well. And a couple players I like here. I like Keely Ringo on the opposite side of Tariq Woolen, but they really, really need an edge rusher. And if you're sitting here at 5 and Myles Murphy's still on the board, I think it just makes too much sense to make that pick. So I'm going to go with Myles Murphy here at number 5 for the Seattle Seahawks. Then at number 6, the Detroit Lions have played better defensively the last 3 weeks, only giving up 19 points to the Giants. But also, don't be fooled. The Giants' offense is not great, despite them being 7-3. I'm going to go with Keely Ringo here. Cornerback, very volatile position in the NFL. You definitely need as much talent as possible at that position. So I like Keely Ringo on the opposite side of Jeff Okudah, who has really shown us why he's a number 3 overall pick the last few weeks. So Keely Ringo is the pick for me here. Then the Houston Texans up again at number 7, and this has been a common theme for so many weeks now. You get Bryce Young with the first overall pick. I am going wide receiver here. A lot of people like Jordan Addison. A lot of people still like JSN. Still going Quentin Johnston for me. He moves and just acts like an NFL receiver already. And his route running has been superb this year. I think he would be an immediate upgrade at the wide receiver position for the Houston Texans. Might even be the number 1 right away. So I'm going to go ahead in there. Then at number 8, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said in the draft I did with JWAC Gridiron over this past weekend, a lot of different ways you can go. Really, offensive tackle, cornerback, edge, defensive line in general, all big needs. You got Brian Brees here, Peter Skoronski. You have Joey Porter a little bit lower down the board, but I am going to go with Ola Fashanu, and I still am going to stand strong on this that at the time that the draft rolls around, we will be talking about Olafashanu as the number 1 overall tackle in this class, which is good, but it's a little bit on the weaker side, at least on the weaker side from what we've seen the past few years. Excuse me. So I'm going to go with Olafashanu here. I think he fills a massive need, especially at left tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars picking at number 9. And kind of same deal here. A couple different ways that they can go at number 9, but I'm going to say that Cam Robinson, despite signing a 3-year extension, I don't really know if his best position is left tackle. He's been so topsy-turvy. And then while Jawan Taylor has been a lot better this year at the right tackle position, he still hasn't been great over his career. And he is a free agent after this year. I feel like replacing him with someone like Paris Johnson, who can play on both sides of the line, would be beneficial to not only Trevor Lawrence, but the entire offense, throughout that course. But also, that's another pick too where I could see Jackson Smith-Njigba going. I could see Jordan Addison going as well. I think Jacksonville also does need to add a receiver, but the receiver class is a little bit on the deeper side, especially deeper than the offensive line. So I'm going to go with the talent here at the position. I like Paris Johnson there. And then at number 10, this is the first time in quite some time that the Philadelphia Eagles find themselves outside of the top 5 with the Saints pick. But if they're sitting here at number 10, I know cornerback is a big need for them. Not necessarily on paper right now this year, but with free agents coming up and guys getting older, I think it's important to nip that in the butt while you can. And with Joey Porter Jr. sitting on the board here, he's been my CB2 basically all year, and basically everyone's CB2. Some people's CB1. So I think it's just an absolutely perfect fit for the long-term future for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then at number 11, you have the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm going to have to go with another tackle. And the reason why I've gone so many different directions the last few weeks, I believe last week I went with Joey Porter in this position. Then the mock I did with a fellow creator over the weekend, I had Bijan Robinson going to the Arizona Cardinals. Now I'm going to go back to Peter Skoronski, and the offensive line is just terrible. It's old. It's full of free agents. Colt McCoy, not the most mobile quarterback, definitely not as mobile as Kyler Murray, just got tormented by the San Francisco 49ers in Mexico on Monday Night Football. And I think that if you needed a bigger sample size, there was none bigger than the game on Monday. So I'm going to go with Skoronski here at number 11. Then we move on to number 12. You have the Green Bay Packers. I'm gonna keep driving home the issue that they need wide receiver help. Jordan Addison, the best wide receiver in my opinion, left on the board here at number 12. I'm gonna have to go with him. Now, Jackson Smith-Njigba, whichever way you want to go with these top 3 receivers, the way that I look at it is I have really my top 4, I would say, because I have JSN and Josh Downs tied at number 3, but it's Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, JSN, and Josh Downs is my top 4. Subject to change, of course, but from what I've been watching throughout this season and over film, that's what I'm going to stick with for some time. So you have the Detroit Lions here at number 13 in the first round, and I'm going to have to cave in here. I'm going to have to go with a linebacker. I tried to stray away from that recently and focus on bigger needs. I know that edge isn't really a big need for them. It really isn't. Aiden Hutchinson's having a fantastic rookie season. And I love to pair young pass rushers together, but I'm going to have to go with a linebacker. The middle of their defense is just so bad. Their linebacking core is terrible. I'm going to have to finally spend a premium pick on that position, and it's going to be Trenton Simpson. Best linebacker in the entire class. You get him here at number 13. That takes care of a big problem for the Detroit Lions that has been a problem for quite some time. Then Indianapolis Colts. Going to have to go, not the Indianapolis Colts, the Fighting Jeff Saturdays. I'm going to have to go with Will Levis here. It's about time that they draft a quarterback. This revolving door, this carousel of veteran quarterbacks to try and piecemeal this team. I mean, really, besides for the quarterback position, they've had an above-average roster for the past few years, and they've just been throwing in a veteran quarterback each year and hoping it sticks. It's time to draft a franchise guy. I am not the biggest fan of Will Levis, but a lot of people love Will Levis, especially scouts. They love all of his intangibles. I mean, it's undeniable. The size, the strength, the athleticism, the arm talent, it's all there. He just has to put it all together, and he hasn't yet. Granted, he doesn't have the greatest supporting cast around him at Kentucky. Maybe, you put NFL talent around him, he will thrive. It remains to be seen, but I'm still not the biggest fan of Will Levis, but I think this pick makes a lot of sense here at number 14. Then you move on to the Atlanta Falcons here. It's about time that they address their defensive line issues. Brian Bresee, who is still on the board here at number 15. I know he hasn't shown too much this year. He's been a little bit of a letdown, but I'm going to still believe in his natural talent and his ability. And I think that fixing this defensive line fixes a lot of issues for the Atlanta Falcons. I like Tyree Wilson in this spot a lot too because of his line versatility. He lines up at outside linebacker, defensive tackle, and defensive end for Texas Tech. But if the talent is here, I'm going to take Brian Bresee with this pick. Then at 16, you have the LA Chargers. They need another weapon. JSN still on the board. Makes too much sense for me here. This would be a perfect scenario for JSN to fall into the NFL with Justin Herbert as your quarterback. Sign me up for that. So moving on to Washington here, and it's so unfortunate that Hendon Hooker suffered a torn ACL. I do think that will hurt his draft stock a little bit. I really don't see him as a first-round pick right now, especially since it's really 1.5 years of good production in a very fast-paced, up-tempo offense. Can he do that, taking 30 seconds in between plays under center? We don't really know. So I think that all the question marks that were surrounding him as a first-round pick already just got amplified by the fact that he tore his ACL. It's so unfortunate. I love Hendon Hooker. I think that he is an absolutely electric prospect, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. A big need for the not the Washington football team. The Washington Commanders is the cornerback position. They got rid of William Jackson. They got some free agents upcoming. It's about time that you influx that position with some young elite talent. And I like Cam Smith here at number 16, 6'4". If you guys didn't see, he basically locked up Jalen Hyatt throughout that Tennessee-South Carolina game. I think when he covered him, he had like 4 or 5 catches for, not the numbers that Jalen Hyatt has used to been putting up this year. But Cam Smith played an excellent game against Tennessee, and I think that boosted his draft stock that much more, going up against a fellow potential first-round pick. I like Cam Smith here at number 17 to the Washington Commanders. Then at number 18, common theme again for the New York Jets. They need offensive line help. If it wasn't apparent before, this could well be used as a pick for a quarterback as well, the way that Zach Wilson played. But that's beside the point. You need to fix the offensive line first and foremost. Zach Wilson got harassed against the New England Patriots, and it's just going to continue against good pass rushers. They need to address the offensive line early and often in this draft and in free agency. I think that their line is much improved from last year, but it still needs a lot of help. And I like Broderick Jones here, someone that can play on the left, can play on the right. It just gives you it just solidifies that position a little bit more because there's so many question marks surrounding that position. It's a revolving door at tackle. Max Mitchell, Dwayne Brown, Mekhi Becton, George Fant, you name it. There's been like 6 or 7 different guys that played that position this year. I've had enough. You need some solidarity and you need to solidify that position. So I'm going to go Broderick Jones here. Number 18. Number 19, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of the same deal as weeks past. The cornerback position is something that is going to be a big need once free agency comes. Little money for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a lot of needs. And I think they're going to have to let Jamel Dean go amongst other people in that secondary. I think replacing them with Christian Gonzalez, someone who has been very productive at the position, has good size for the position as well. And his game definitely can translate to the NFL. I love the fit here for Christian Gonzalez. Moving on to Denver here at number 20. I think not a new face totally in my first round because he's been here before a couple times, but I don't think he was in last week. I'm going to go with Jalen Duncan here. I think he played pretty well against Ohio State. That's a tall task to ask. Maryland almost beat Ohio State, and Jalen Duncan was someone that I was keeping a close eye on. From what I saw watching just on TV, not really breaking down the game through film, is he played pretty well. He held his own. There are some pretty talented players in that defensive line. So I think that would be a big upgrade on the offensive line for the Denver Broncos. Moving on to Seattle, their second first-round pick, and I'm going to have to go with Noah Sewell here. it's just, is it the biggest need for the Seattle Seahawks? Not really, but they don't have many needs. They've played so well across so many different areas of offense and defense that I can't really find a huge need. But besides for Jordan Brooks, they definitely do need a linebacker. And Noah Sewell is a huge linebacker, downhill run stuffer. I feel like that's something that would complement Jordan Brooks that much. It's a sweeper guy who goes sideline to sideline. He's pretty decent in coverage, a tackling machine, playmaker. I feel like they would go really, really well together. So I like Noah Sewell here at number 21 for the Seattle Seahawks. Moving on to the New England Patriots. Once again, same deal as some weeks prior. I like Josh Downs a lot here in this pick. It's just someone that's just so dynamic with the ball in his hands. I think he would benefit the New England Patriots greatly. And this is a smaller slot receiver. And as we know, Bill Belichick loves to use some smaller slot receivers. That's a tough sentence to say. Try and say that 5 times fast. I don't think you can. I certainly can. I know that. But I like Josh Downs here. 5'10", 180, but the guy is just absolutely electric. Moving on to Cincinnati, this is definitely a new face in my first round mocks so far this year. Michael Mayer still on the board. It's very, very enticing, but I think Cincinnati still has to address this offensive line. I mean, they put so much money and so much effort into it in this past offseason. I thought it was going to be a top 8 unit in the offensive line. It has been a bottom 8 unit at the very best so far this year. It really starts up the middle. I feel like Cordell Volson, a mid-round guy, played tackle at North Dakota State, moved on the inside. He's just not getting it done for me. You need someone that is an anchor on that offensive line, especially on the interior. I like Osiris Torrance here. Huge guy. He's been someone that I've been looking at the last couple weeks as a potential first rounder, and I think I'm going to pull the trigger here. I think that he reminds me of Kenyon Green a little bit, maybe a little bit on the lesser side, because Kenyon Green was projected to be like a top 20 pick throughout the entire draft process. But this man is slowly but surely bringing himself up into consideration, and I think that this is a huge need for Cincinnati, and they need to get this done. If you want to continue to have a good run game and you want to continue to keep Joe Burrow upright and healthy, you need to drop as much draft capital and money into these positions as possible. So I like Osiris Torrance there. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills. If Bijan Robinson's on the board, you got to take him if you're the Buffalo Bills. I know that the Buffalo Bills have other issues. I really don't care, to be honest with you. Putting Bijan Robinson in an offense like that it's must-see TV. Going to go with Bijan Robinson there. Then at number 25 for the Baltimore Ravens, I know a bit of a dip here for Isaiah Foskey, but the way that this first round played out is a little bit different than last week's. Isaiah Foskey is still someone that is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. 6'5", 265 pounds. He's got the look of a 3-4 defensive end, and the production is there. 8.5 or 9 sacks off the top of my head. I'm not really too sure. I don't really remember, but I think that this is something that the Baltimore Ravens need. Justin Houston has been fantastic. He really has dialed it back a little bit from about 5 or 6 years ago. But at the end of the day, he's still on the wrong side of 30. They need to address that position while they can, and I think that having Isaiah Foskey available at number 25 is an ideal situation for the Baltimore Ravens. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans here. Michael Mayer is on the board. Makes too much sense for me here. I don't know how this isn't listed as a suggested need. Don't really know how, but whatever. Michael Mayer, great blocking tight end, great receiving tight end, just great overall tight end in this draft. I'm going to go with Michael Mayer here at number 26. Then moving on to number 27, you have the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm going to go with my man Emmanuel Forbes. He made his debut in my first round mock last week, and he's going to continue that this week as well. Another interception this past week. He's been sensational for Mississippi State. 14 interceptions so far in his career in 2+ years. And he's not just a ball hawk. He covers very well. He's got good size, 6 foot, 180 pounds. I like him playing on the opposite side of Trayvon Diggs. And, they have some free agents coming up. Anthony Brown is a free agent. Donovan Wilson is a free agent. So they got some holes coming up in that secondary. So I like this pick a lot here. Then moving on to the New York Giants. And It's just apparent they just need to add talent in the wide receiver room. Even if they sign Odell Beckham and it's more for just the rest of this season, I don't really care. You still need to put guys around them. I mean, Darius Slayton is having an okay season. Wan'Dale Robinson was starting to come around in his first year before he eventually tore his ACL. Sterling Shepard is made out of glass bones and paper skin. You need someone else. And I really like Kayshon Boutte has come along very, very nicely in the second half of this season. So is LSU, by the way, ranked 5th in the latest polls, which is kind of crazy to me, to be honest with you. No reason why they should be ranked over USC, but I digress. Anyway, Kayshon Boutte, a big route running technician, a true number one wide receiver talent if he could put it all together at the next level. I think Giants desperately need some talent influxed in that wide receiver room. Then you got the Minnesota Vikings here. It's going to be my guy, Clark Phillips. The guy is just too productive. I know I've said in weeks past that the size kind of bothers me at 5'10", 183 pounds. Don't get me wrong. Patrick Peterson, I was going to say Adrian Peterson. Patrick Peterson has been a top 10 cornerback this year. He has been fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because of his performance against the Buffalo Bills with 2 end zone interceptions, actually. He has been really, really good this year, but he's also very old for the cornerback position. So I would be all over that if I was the Minnesota Vikings. Bringing back Patrick Peterson and adding Clark Phillips, a really great mentor relationship there. I'm going to go with my boy Clark. And moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs here at pick number 30, the second to last pick in the first round. As you guys know, there are only 31 picks in the first round this year as the Miami Dolphins forfeited their pick. And I'm going to have to go with Tyree Wilson. Same pick as last week. I'll just quickly go through the description again. I said it earlier with Atlanta. Can play basically every position on the defensive line. He is extremely athletic, 6'6", 275 pounds. Gotta love it. And like I said, Kalen Saunders, Derek Nottie, Frank Clark, a potential cap casualty. They're going to need some talent, young talent on that defensive line, especially since they got to start paying people. I believe Patrick Mahomes' extension starts to kick in next year as well. This might be a very, very different looking defense next year. I'm going to go with Tyree Wilson here. Then in the last pick of the first round, the Philadelphia Eagles come around again, and I'm going to go with my dude, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I know there's some really, really great picks here. Really can't go wrong. And these two picks, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles here, there's so much edge rushing and defensive line talent here. Everyone forgets about Nolan Smith. He is injured. He's been injured for the past few weeks. Jared Verse is having a very, very good year for Florida State. BJ Ojulari is very, very good as well. 5 sacks. Andre Carter is coming off of a 15.5 sack season. Has been pretty decent this year as well. Zach Harrison is another guy that might find his way into the back end of the first round when it's all said and done. But Felix Anudike-Uzomah has been extremely productive from day one. He's got 23 sacks in the last 1+ seasons. He's just been uber productive for the now ranked 13th, I believe, Kansas State. So I really, really like him. I've been high on his game. I want to do a player profile on him very, very soon. I feel like he's getting overlooked throughout this draft process so far. So I hope that once the combine comes, pro days come, his natural athleticism and his pass rushing ability and strength really come out and show. And then, of course, there is no 32nd pick in the first round this year, but I'm going to go, let's see. I've done kicker, I did punter. I don't think I did long snapper yet. So Alex Ward, you are the only long snapper listed. So congratulations. You're probably the first long snapper ever taken in the first round of the NFL draft. So I still don't know how that's not an F, by the way. So there you have it. There is my updated 2023 NFL mock draft after week 11 of the NFL season. I cannot believe that we are past 11 weeks of the NFL season. A couple things I wanted to say real quick before I end. Number one, happy Thanksgiving again to you and your family, and I hope you guys enjoy this holiday season. I hope you be safe, make smart choices. And then number two, just want to say the player profiles have taken my channel to another level. These mock drafts took it to a level before, but now these player profiles have taken it yet again. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support you've shown me. I hope you continue to support in the next few videos. I got a couple really, really good ones lined up. I'm going to start doing 2 player profiles a week. I'm going to try my very best. I'm very busy at work. It's busy season for me at work, so I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'm going to try my hardest to get 2 of those player profiles out to you guys a week. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Happy holidays.